Felix and Tony.
Camacho Ada.
Felix and Tony.
Camacho Ada.
They're the right reason for a new season. Together we rise.
Half a day, good evening,
Half a
people of
day.
Guam. Partner, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. It's been a tremendous day as we traversed the island from village to village, visiting all of the different camps and, of course, our supporters. So, we're here at the Camacho Ada campaign headquarters.
Woohoo!
Hello.
Yeah, hear those guys out there.
Our good people are here with us, excited. The polls are closed. And now, of course, we await the results. Elections are always exciting, of course, as we all know,
definitely.
because we enjoy seeing our island voters exercising their civil rights and duties. And I think it'd be a good opportunity to talk today about our experiences as we've been out on the road. And I can even share some of my experiences in the past elections that I've been to. But Senator, why don't you add to this?
I tell you, God, these past elections, when I first ran in 2008, has really changed over the years how elections are held, and also how the people have come out to support, how the people come out to, be there to rally at the hospitality tents and things like that. So over the years, it's really changed, but exciting as always.
Yes.
Exciting as always.
Well, today it was nice as we began the morning with the 6 a.m. Mass down at St. Anthony's, as we all did, and thank you for joining us, and of course a quick breakfast, and then we hit the roads. We began at Tamuning, and of course this is the village that I was raised in and spent all my life, and from there, of course, we both took different routes. You took the eastern route, I took the western route, and of course we met somewhere in between, and
Down in Arahan.
in Arahan.
Yeah,
for
in
some
Arahan.
good food.
Yeah.
It was amazing. But for myself, when I think back on elections that I have had, I recall the first time I did run was as a senatorial candidate in 1992, of course, followed by 94, 96, and in 98, of course, I then ran with Joe Ada as a lieutenant governor candidate.
Uh-huh.
And that was quite exciting. Of course, it wasn't successful on my end, and so I had to come back again and run for my fourth term as senator in 2000. And of course, we were successful, had another with Kaleo Moylan and myself, and then came back another 4 years and ran with Mike Cruz. Our term ended. And then in 2016, I ran for Congress. But here we are again, and you're right, things have changed, even the way we've made our signs. But one thing has been constant. It's the excitement of the voters that are out there, the energy it takes, the commitment, and just the joy of people getting out there and supporting their candidates.
Yeah, and we'd like to thank all the voters who came out to vote today.
Mm-hmm.
And just like in elections past, right? The numbers as they come out, they don't, the voters are not really going out to vote, and knowing that these elections are very important,
Yeah.
both the primary and the general election. So if the turnout wasn't good on this primary election, hopefully the general election would turn out much better.
Yes.
Yeah.
One thing I found interesting is I really felt that not only did we go to our hospitality tents, where we had in each village, but we did make an effort to go to both of the Democratic camps, and the reception, was very kind. People were very courteous and gracious, and welcoming. Many times offering food. In fact, I think one of the best places I saw food was amazing. It happened to be down at happen to be down in Agate. I mean, they had patas baboy. They had I think it was adobo oxtail.
Wow.
They had some amazing stuff, but I just had to excuse myself and not partake in that because knowing we have a long day ahead, I didn't want to get groggy. Yeah. You slap that on some rice and you're done.
Yeah. You're right though. All the hospitality tents, both Sabrina, Mike and Sabrina, Lou and Josh, ours, everyone was, you noticed how one hospitality tent was just right next to the other, next to the other. So everyone was very cordial to each other. Everybody wanted to just help out each other. And, it's great. It's great to see that, even though there are different sides or different camps that everybody wanted to just be there for one another.
Yeah, one thing I always found interesting. I understand that PNC News right now is broadcasting live, and Tony and I just want to say hi to the people of
Hafaday.
Guam. Hafaday, everyone.
To PNC and to the people of Guam, to all the voters, everyone that came out, and everyone that cast their votes, everyone who did early voting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think there was almost 5,000 people that early voted.
Yeah. So
perhaps that could have been the shift there for today's presence at the polls.
right. One thing I find very interesting is when you go into a certain camp, of course on the Democratic side. Obviously, they in the primary they have to vote for their team. You can't cross.
Right.
And many of them would say, "Hey, Gov, good luck." Good luck, as in flipping of a coin, or by chance, we wish you do well. But I find there's an acronym for luck that I found to be very interesting. It's L would be living, U would be under, C would be Christ, and K would be kindness. So living under Christ's kindness. And I always take that and say, I appreciate that. I'll take that LUCK.
Anytime it's
Anytime.
given, we accept.
Right.
Yeah.
And so as we move forward, I know that we're going to be, the results would be coming out, and we'll have an opportunity then to speak to the people of Guam. And there'll be opportunities again to reach across the aisle and say, listen, unfortunately, there'll be one team that prevails and one that doesn't. And so that's why we would have to reach out across the aisle and say, please come on over and join our team.
Yes. I was told, right, that regardless of the results, all teams are victorious.
Absolutely.
Because they took the effort to step forward and put themselves out there for the people of Guam to have a choice.
Yeah.
And that there in itself is, the first and most important thing. So, congratulations to everyone.
Senator, one thing I want to share with you and, of course, the voters is that it takes a lot of courage for any political candidate to put themselves out and, contend for office because, and especially in this day and age when we talk about the differences of what elections were in the past and what they are now, with the advent of social media and the use of it, oftentimes, it's great for getting the message out, but there's also the dark side of it too, and many times it can be used to attack an individual, a candidate's credibility. So for the candidates to put themselves out there, not only do they expose themselves, but they expose their families, and it takes a lot of courage, and leadership does require courage. And so my congratulations to all the candidates on all sides that have offered themselves and have been contenders for political office, because ultimately it's about serving the people of Guam.
Yeah, and Governor, it's not as easy as it was in elections past, because previously you were able to put up signs on government easements, government property. Today you can't do that. So you have to know people, or go up and knock on somebody's door and say, is it okay if we can put our sign here? And the difficulty of people saying yes or no, they just kind of like, some people shy away from politics. They just don't want to be involved, supporting one candidate or another. So the challenges the new candidates have in this day and age is tremendous, because if they don't have social media, or they don't have the funds for print advertisement or radio advertisement or TV advertisement, then they're going to find that challenge even greater, trying to get it themselves exposed as a political candidate for whatever office they're running for.
I think you hit a point there. The ability for candidates, both incumbent and challengers, and the ability for them to raise the adequate amount of funds, financial funds to run the campaign, whether it be on print, whether it be on media, whether it be on radio, has been extremely challenging, and many have found to use social media as an opportunity to perhaps spread that dollar a bit more effectively and have a broader reach. But in this post-COVID environment, and especially with the financial challenges of many businesses, I think the candidates have struggled, and many of those that are willing to participate and contribute to the campaigns within the confines of the law have found it difficult,
Yes.
to raise the adequate amount of funds, and so it has been a challenge. And I think moving forward into the general, when you think about the amount of money that's been spent,
So far, I mean, when you look at
Yeah.
the camps of Mike and Sabrina and Lou and Josh, the amount of money they spent, on advertisement and things like that, and even with us, the amount of money that we spent on advertisement, it keeps escalating, and it's I think it's something that's we're not going to be able to have a hold on anytime soon. I mean, because even from 2018 to 2020 to 2022, pre-COVID, COVID, and now post-COVID, advertising and social media and your physical presence, that one-on-one, right? That going door to door, canvassing, because that was an effective method of getting exposed. But people to this day, even when I went canvassing up in Derrida, people were still kind of keeping their distance, just say hi, how's everything good? Yeah, you can just leave it there, or they'll come up and try to interact with us, but still being cautious as they are, because they still want to have some sense of barrier between them, with that invisible barrier.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here? It's moving into the general. It's a whole new ball game, and the dynamics of the election are definitely going to change. I think everything is amped up. Mm-hmm. There's a lot more effort going into it. Think about it. We got about 9 months, rather 9 weeks, to go over the next couple of months, heading into November 8th, and so
I think it's 72 days, about 72 days, right?
it's going to be very, very interesting time, and we really look forward to it. And so, as we head into it again, I would love to encourage the people of Guam, to those who didn't participate or vote in the primary, register to vote, get out there and participate, make a difference, and let's realize that these are very, very interesting and tumultuous times. There's a lot of uncertainty in the future, and there's a lot of hurt, and there's a lot of pain that the community and the people of Guam need. And there's a need for compassion. And so the candidates that are out there, both senatorial, congressional, and gubernatorial, there's going to be a lot at stake, because the outcome and the consequences of the election coming are going to be quite serious and impactful for many years to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just told it's 73 days to the general election.
Okay.
Actually, it's 72 and a wake up.
Every day is critical.
Every day is critical.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I think as we move forward from the primary election, once they determine who the outcome of the primary on the Democrat side of the ticket, we'll be able to start formulating who will be challenging against. We'll go from there, and I think that it's going to be a very interesting election moving forward.
Yeah, for myself, it's interesting. When I think of my history, it goes back to my father, the late Governor Carlos Garcia Camacho, who first ran with Kurt Moylan. Back in 1970. 1969 was the actual election, and of course they took term in 70. But my gosh, I was a young kid back then. And prior to that, I recall even as a young boy being involved in back then it was the Territorial Party of Guam, or that eventually became the Republican. The Popular Party became the Democrat. But I recall even back then the dynamics of the political campaigns and how it used to be, and it's evolved over the years. So I've been involved with my father's campaign in 70, in his re-election in 1974. Of course, I went off to school and university. Coming back then, I got involved with the Joseph Ada and Frank Blas and their administration eventually, and got involved in all the different campaigns, and then became a candidate myself. So I've won and I've lost. I've participated in many, and people would wonder, what is the drive? How do you keep going? But I think it's not necessarily a drive, but it's more, I believe, a calling and a purpose. Because Tony, you and I think understand and realize that this is more than just Felix and Tony. It's
Right.
more than just Mike and Sabrina. It's more than just Lou and Josh. There's a greater cause
Right.
that for which we have put ourselves out there, and it's about serving the people of Guam and trying to do our ultimate best to improve their livelihood. And so these causes and the calling and the purpose of which we're here, I think is really what drives us. And so again, all the experiences that I've had, winning and losing in different offices, for senator, for governor, even for lieutenant governor at one time, and in the '98 election for myself, congressional run was not successful, and here I am again for the third term.
And I tell you, a loss between a win, it makes you humble yourself even more, knowing that there's people out there that they believe in us, they believe in you, they believe in me, but there's some that takes a little bit more of saying, what are you guys about? So hopefully moving forward, we'll be able to see how we'll be able to get our word out there, and so we can go ahead and let them know we have our platform. Our 7 pillars, and they can look at our platform, get to know us better. And even with our podcast here, we can, people interact with us, and we can answer questions. We can, as we go on the trail.
Yes.
And we continue to do that weekly, and, how things are that previous week, what we're doing, where we're going, and report back to the people. And I think that's what the people like. They like to know what's going on, right? What are the candidates doing to, go out there, expose themselves? What are the candidates doing to, ensure that the word, that their message is being heard, and the response from the people as well?
I want to share with you a question that was posed to me today by one of the reporters. I believe it was Steve Limtiaco, well-respected journalist that has been around for quite a while. And the question posed to me was, there's been no incumbent governor that has ever lost a re-election, and there's been no previous governor that has won 3 terms. What makes you think that you can prevail, and what makes this difference? But when you look back in history, my father was the last appointed, first elected. And then when he ran for re-election in the 1974 election as an incumbent, he didn't win. So to say that an incumbent governor has never lost is not correct. Moving forward, Ricky Bordallo was then incumbent governor, who he won in the 1974 election. When 1978 comes around, Ricky Bordallo, an incumbent governor, loses to Governor Paul Calvo. It was then after that Paul Calvo ran for re-election as an incumbent, and he did not win. Ricky Bordallo came back and won his second term, and so I think he was with Eddie Regis back then. And then, of course, you had Governor Joseph Ada that came in and defeated Ricky, who sought a third term. Ricky lost, but it was from the time of Joseph Ada and Frank Blas that you then have a string of successive governors winning re-election. Joseph Ada won 2 terms, followed by Carl Gutierrez with 2 terms, Felix Camacho with 2 terms, and of course Eddie Calvo. And now you have Lou. So the correction is that no, governors incumbent have had successful re-elections, and they've also had unsuccessful re-election bids, historically speaking.
Yeah, and you know that's one thing about our people, right?
Yeah.
When they feel that a governor or even a senator or even congressman, right, or Congress, that if they feel they're doing the job, then perhaps they would look for re-election. But
Yeah.
when they feel that they're not being out there, not being transparent, not being forthright with the people, then of course questions start to come up. They start to say, well, I don't know about this, what's going on. And then that's how these terms,
Yeah.
the uncertainty of how
And
things
one thing
will
I
move
one
forward.
thing I wanted to add to that was that I did mention to Steve, and maybe some of the other media picked it up, but I said, Steve, as you posed the question, so then I closed it by saying that we are not defined or confined by history,
Right.
because to me, and as we all feel and we know that with God all things are possible. He is a God of the impossible, and by the grace of God we shall make history, and that's what we're looking forward to.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
And we are going to make history. It's going to be an exciting time. Whether we're going to go against Lou and Josh or Mike and Sabrina,
Yeah.
it's going to be a great election. And
Absolutely.
we have a lot to look forward to.
And so, I think maybe this is a time we can perhaps wrap it up, and we look forward to the tabulations and the poll and the results coming through, and again at that hour when it's all over and one would concede and one would accept, we're going to reach out and ask, please come and join our side of the team, and we welcome all.
Absolutely.
I look forward to it.
We're going to welcome everyone to our team.
Right.
And again, we thank all the volunteers who helped out at all the hospitality tents, all the people who came out to vote, all the early voters who went out and casted their ballots.
Right.
And we look forward to seeing everyone on the campaign trail.
Fantastic. And so, as we wrap it up, Sus Maasi, thank you very much from Felix and
Tony,
thank you.
thank you, everyone.
Felix and Tony.